into our live stream Q&A, Ask Me Anything, where you can ask me anything you would like about history and social sciences, particular time period, any particular area, any particular era of history. I'm here to serve to answer all of your questions about history and social sciences. We're here in the Friendly Neighborhood History Studio, and I'm wearing my smoking jacket, which turns me into History Hefner, and I'm going to pick a nice historical background to accompany us, and I thought what would be better than having Alexander the Great join us, riding his mighty steed Bucephalus, entire city after. Of course, he named himself as well, but we're joined by Alexander the famous mosaics of the Battle of Gaugamela, which is one of the most famous mosaics in all of ancient history. And you've probably seen Alexander's depiction here, but you also have probably seen the army of Darius, the Persian emperor, being beaten back by Alexander. His decisive victory, destroying the Medo-Persian Empire, came at Gaugamela in, I think, 331 or 329, something like that. But hello and welcome to the Friendly Neighborhood History Channel, and a happy Saturday to you all. I hope you're enjoying your weekend, and we are here to get all of your questions about history and social sciences answered. We had a very fun live stream and Q&A yesterday, and we are back for more today. So if you want to become a Friendly Neighborhood Historian, it's as easy as liking and subscribing. And of course, for all of those who are returning, it's great to see you again. We've got Harry, my wonderful moderators, holding down the chat. And we've already got a question from Hars. How much unity in politics was there post 9/11? How impactful were presidents like George W. Bush and Obama in their unity speeches and attempts? Both presidents at different times attempted to be extremely bipartisan during administration. Barack Obama came into a lot more trouble with that than George W. Bush. Early on in Bush's presidency, particularly after 9/11, the country was really united and was very supportive of operations in Afghanistan and Iraq, and basically were rubber stamping Bush's war on terror agenda. But discrepancies, polarization, and the failing economy made things worse between Republicans and Democrats by the time Bush left office in 2009. And despite civility, his excellent speech-making abilities, and his desire to reach across the aisle, Barack Obama often ran into a lot of problems with unifying the two political bases, which became ever the more polarized during his presidency and was antagonized further with his successor, Donald Trump, in 2017. So, but after 9/11, the United States was extremely unified. Bush's approval rating was very high, and the American public on both sides of the aisle were very, very eager to get involved in wars, particularly in Afghanistan and also in Iraq. So, hello, Harry. Good to see you. Do you think Cicero was the greatest Roman statesman of his time, and do you think he was one of the best from all of Roman times? He was a great orator, great speaker, and great leader. I mean, you've got Cincinnatus, you have the Marcus Junius Brutus, you have the early founders of the Roman Republic, you have Livy and his republic, which are all very, very important. But Cicero may have combined oratory, writing, and politics to be one of the greatest Roman politicians and statesmen of all time, at least of the Republican era, as he lived right at the end of the Roman Republican experiment, right as the Caesars were about to rise. He was, in fact, killed during the purges of Antony and Octavian following the murder of Julius Caesar. So welcome to the Friendly Neighborhood History Channel. We are glad that you're here. Please like and subscribe for more historical content. I'm using my brand new mic, and I hope you guys really enjoy it. We've got our members here. Members have their name in green and have emojis like Gaiahan, Major Woody, and my moderator Harsonet, as well as Emir, who is a second-tier member. So consider becoming a member and donating to the channel. Anything helps, and the money that's used for this channel goes into getting new equipment, like this microphone, a nice 30 retro-style microphone that I got as a Christmas gift to myself. Emir, great to see you. Frog Physics, we are here for history. Yes, indeed. So please like and subscribe and become a friendly neighborhood historian. We had a lot of fun yesterday, and we're looking for more fun today. So welcome. At least he never saw his beloved republic officially fall apart. It was falling apart. I mean, the Roman Republic was on its last legs long before the Caesars showed up and tried to seize power for themselves. The Roman Republic had been struggling with corruption and political strife since the beginning of the 3rd century BC. Yeah, I do think it does sound really good. But at least he always had the facade of republic to comfort him. Well, there was an idealization of the Roman Republic that started then and lasted well after the Republic fell. Even Augustus, when he was emperor, seemed to have some sort of affinity for the Republic. Republicanism remained ingrained in the Roman mind and passed and was passed down to the succeeding European mind and never really died out, and was eventually inherited by people like the Dutch, the British, and of course the Americans. Republicanism, the idea of having representative government by wealthy and powerful individuals who make rules for the entire population, is something that was predated even the Romans, was perfected by the Romans in many ways, created the strong legal codes the Romans were known for, and then was inherited by many of the European countries in centuries to come. So Unfriendly His Future just passed you in subs. Oh, I'm so sorry to hear that. My counter channel. Yeah, the Roman Republic had been collapsing ever since the time of Sulla. Sulla, Marius, these were times of great division within the Roman Republic, and Rome had already reached the status pretty much by the destruction of Carthage in the Third Punic War of being an empire on its own. It controlled most, if not all, of the Mediterranean by that point, and so it had very much the imperial structure. So, if not, but was not an empire in land mass. So. So yes, join me and Alexander the Great as we answer all of your history questions for the next hour or so, like we do every Friday and Saturday at 6 p.m. Eastern. We have long-form videos every Mondays and Fridays usually that come out, and short-form content every day. There's also a Patreon, Substack, and TikTok with extra bonus content that I'm sure my wonderful moderator, Hars, will put the links to in the channel. Augustus was a surprising success. He wasn't the great military general that his great-uncle was, nor was he the brilliant tactician that Mark Antony was, but he was an incredibly shrewd politician and was able to lead people very well, usually by example. And this idea of the princeps, of the first among equal, is how Augustus basically legitimized his slow but steady encroachment on power over the Roman people. I think its biggest problem is it never evolved from regional power to the worldwide powerful empire that it became. Well, the Roman Republic wasn't created when Rome was an empire. It was created when Rome was a fledgling city-state that had barely beaten off Etruscan kings who had tried to devastate it and do all sorts of unspeakable things, the tyrants, as they are known. In fact, if Hars could also put the video, I have a link where I talk about, here on YouTube, all the different Roman kings. So, Rome was a kingdom before it was a republic. The Roman Republic was built for a city-state. So once you get into an imperial status, how does a republic function on such a large, grandiose scale when you have so much wealth, power, and citizenry to be responsible for? So Marcus Aurelius, one of the greatest Roman emperors, the philosopher emperor. Of course, his meditations are extremely popular, and he's probably the best Roman emperor of the although Trajan and Hadrian definitely would have something to say about that. What characteristics did Roman cities have? A lot of them had aqueducts, which provided running water. They had clean sanitation, bath houses, and a system of complicated baths. They had a forum, which was their equivalent to the Greek agora, which was an open marketplace, but also a place to share civic ideas and engage with different social issues going on. Is basically kind of thing. They had barracks where they kept their soldiers, and of course, what Rome was well known for, connecting all of these cities, was good paved roads. So the infrastructure of the Roman Empire is how the Roman Empire was able to survive. It's how the Pax Romana was so successful, and what made Rome so rich and powerful was the ability to transfer ideas and resources. Trump was probably the best Roman emperor who invented peanut butter. I don't know about most, man. You're just a troll. Yeah. When was the last time 12 people on anything? Division empire in the Roman Republic near. Okay, we are works. Sorry for the interruption there for a few minutes, but anyways, we were talking about Rome and how complex their society was. Fascinating civilization, incredible republic. We talk about the Roman Empire and the Roman Republic a lot on this channel. So we are back. Let's see if that works. And then we'll turn that back on as well. Okay. Okay, we are back. Let's see if the internet's working okay. The Roman culture was perfect for Christianity to be born in. Well, what the Roman culture allowed was the easy transmission of ideas and a semi-cosmopolitan society where things were actually generally tolerant enough for people to trade and move ideas back and forth. And Christianity spread because of the Pax Romana, because Rome was relatively peaceful and stable. It was easy for different ideas and religious teachings to spread around. So Christianity, although heavily persecuted at times during Roman history, was able to spread and kind of continue to grow. High birth rates amongst Christians were able to outpace that of the secular Romans, and eventually Christianity became the leading religion in the Roman Empire by just simply outbirthing the paganic Roman people who had slowed in their birth rates, but Christianity had not. And so that was a way that Christianity became the dominant religion in Rome, and eventually was legalized and later became the official religion during the 4th century when Rome underwent a Christianization, where the persecutions of the early 4th century and the 3rd century kind of fell away, and the Romans were kind of overwhelmed by Christianity. And yes, that is Alexander the Great in the background. This is the Friendly Neighborhood History Channel and our live Q&A, where you can ask me anything you want about history and social sciences, as we do every Friday and Saturday at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Let me see. Yeah, it wasn't really destroyed from within, kind of remade in a new image, a Christian image, and this image would remain with the Byzantine Empire as it existed following the collapse of the West in 476 AD. And yes, well, I mean, mosaics tend to have people depict their people with larger eyes and things like that. And this is a very famous mosaic. This is Alexander the Great in his famous victory against the Persians and Emperor Darius at the Battle of Gaugamela, I believe in 331 BC, the definitive defeat of the Medo-Persian Empire, which had been the bane of Greek existence for a long time. But the Greek army being superior, having phalanxes and the hoplite formation and all of that, was finally able to defeat them with Alexander's tactics and the unification of the Greek. If Generals Percival and Monk appointed supreme allied commanders, we'd all be eating sushi and Wiener Schnitzel. I don't know. Montgomery is kind of overlooked because of his relationship with Patton, but he wasn't an inferior general. He was actually pretty tactful and had won several important victories against the Germans and Italians. Al Alamein is a famous example of this in North Africa. And the British were surprisingly able to stem the tide of the Italians and Germans, even the Desert Fox, Erwin Rommel, before Patton arrived. Patton shows up and makes a bigger difference, obviously, that eventually pushes the Germans and Italians all the way back to Italy itself. So you got to give Montgomery credit. He was a pretty significant general. He's just overshadowed by someone who's even more legendary and more successful, and that is, of course, George S. Patton. So TC, I wouldn't give CM Montgomery too much of a hard time. Are the Kalesh people of Pakistan the ancestors of Alexander the Great's soldiers? No, they are not. You mean the descendants? Also no. Did the Greeks take protein rips off each other's? Probably. Let me see. And this is not Cajun Bobby Hill, but I like the reference, Auslander. It's good to see you again. This is a reference to, this is a smoking jacket. Smoking jackets became popular after the Crimean War, when British officers returning from fighting against the Ottoman Empire were given Turkish tobacco and would wear these so that they wouldn't get it all over their clothes. They were easy to produce because it was the Industrial Revolution and the textile industry was booming, especially in Great Britain, in cities like London and Birmingham. So yes, and happy Saturday to you too, Neva. And yes, Alexander was tutored by Aristotle. He learned a lot about politics, tactics, and precision through one of the greatest philosophers and scientists of all time. By the way, Aristotle was obsessed with science and was one of the greatest scientists of the ancient world. So, anyways, let's see here. Okay. Hopefully the internet's working now. We've been having trouble with our internet, so thank you for your